go ahead and dive in a little bit. So this is Kristen and I's daughter, Kelsey, from a number of years ago. And this is a late night, well, actually, I think it was in the fall. So this might have been like 6:15, in the evening with the way that it gets dark so early in the fall. And she decided she wanted to play baseball, which she doesn't really do. She didn't really do then, and she doesn't really do now, but she decided she wanted to play baseball. And so I said, well, that'll be fun. We'll go out and I'll throw you a few pitches in our front yard, which is not very large. So it's not a real good place for baseball. Are any of you real baseball people, coached baseball or played baseball? Okay. Do you notice any? She's doing something. My father-in-law, when he was still living, pointed out in this picture, she's doing something wrong. Um, yeah, and that's what do you call that when it's chicken-handed? I think he said she's chicken-handed. She had the wrong hand on top. So I don't have experience with baseball, so I didn't point that out to her that day. Didn't know that she was doing it wrong until he showed this picture to my father-in-law, and he pointed it out. So thank you, Dad, for making me feel confident in my parenting skills and abilities. But she's adorable, right? She's got the pink bat, the big smile. She's ready to go. So I'm pitching her a few balls. And, I'm pretty confident she's not going to hit any of them because she never has before. And so I'm not really expecting anything. But if you've ever watched America's Funniest Home Videos, you know what tends to happen to the pitcher in these situations when you're not really expecting anything. I think they call it head, gut, or groin, the old game that they played. Where is the ball going to hit the person? So this was an America's Funniest Home Video. I won't go into any more detail than that, but definitely would qualify. And so she lined that thing right back at her bat level, back to the pitcher. And as I laid on the ground afterwards, wondering why in the world we're playing baseball in the dark at night and why I didn't have confidence in Kelsey being able to hit the ball back to me, I had questions, about why we were doing that. And so that's a little bit of a silly way to introduce our concept that pain leads to questions, right? When we go through pains and problems, it makes questions come up. Why is this happening? What does this mean? How do I sort through this? On a much more serious note, when I was new in ministry, the first about 5 or 6 years in ministry, I spent in youth ministry and serving teens and college age students. And it wasn't really my plan to do that, but we all have plans and not plans, and God kind of directs our paths as we go along. And so I was working in youth ministry at an independent church here in Fort Wayne, and this was kind of before the days where we took HIPAA very seriously. And so the way that we kept track of people that were in the hospital was on a large whiteboard in our in our office space. Some of you are nodding. You remember these days before you had to keep things a little bit more private. And on that whiteboard, we had Lutheran Hospital, Parkview Hospital, DuPont Hospital, and then we'd write the name, the condition, the room number, social security number. No, not a social security number, but some of that information about that person. Well, as the youth pastor, my people weren't in the hospital very often. Of course, when they were, it was a big deal because they were young people. But usually, when it got around to, I think Wednesday was my hospital day, I was going to see people I'd never met before, as the youth pastor. And I would love to stand up here and tell you, as someone who Carol introduced as an expert in the topic, I would love to tell you that I relish the opportunities to go and give pastoral care to these people that I didn't know who were hurting in the hospital, but that would be a bold-faced lie. I did not look forward to it. I did not want to go to the hospital. I didn't know them. It was uncomfortable. It's difficult to navigate the hospital sometimes. And so I can remember one Wednesday that I went to the big white dry erase board, and I'd put it off as long as possible. I'd written Sunday school lessons, I'd called kids, I'd had meetings, everything else. And then finally I thought, if I don't check the board, I'm probably going to get in trouble with my senior pastor. So I went out and checked the board, hoping there would be 0 names, on the board for that day. As it turned out, there was one name, the name Gladys, under Parkview Hospital, and this was before Regional Medical Center, so Parkview Hospital was the one and only Parkview Hospital at the time, on Randalia Drive. So, and it just said Gladys, had a room number, and said broken hip. As a 25, 26-year-old young man, a broken hip didn't sound super serious to me because I'd